Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing Project CARS 2 Endurance League. Season number 5, round number 5 here at the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Dino Ferrari Imola. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be your commentator throughout this evening's race. 2 hours of this circuit is what we have in store for us, and 16 drivers are going to be with us in this multi-class event. The LMP1Hs and the GTEs are who we have taking it to the field. And there are 17 names there, but Andrex, you can currently see, well, you can't see him, his name's highlighted. He's going to act as the pace car, and then he's joining me in the commentary box. I am very much looking forward to that. 15 minutes qualifying session, and the LMP1Hs are coming out. So let's see who we have got on. Well, everybody is coming out, as several people have come out already. M-Power, a stalwart in the endurance league in his mighty Corvette once again. He has taken the GTE Championship before. He's also in the GT3 leagues, and we saw him in. Whoa, that's determined. We saw M-Power in the GT3 league yesterday. Atlas Garian, I have seen you before, and he's in the Ford. Oh, interesting. The Ford doesn't often get airtime in the GTE leagues, but he is running that one. Inky Chris, also in the GT3 league, he is in the Porsche. LMP1H. Big monster of a car, that one. Leon the Sick One, hello to you, a name I'm familiar with. He's in the favourite of the LMP1Hs. He's in the Audi. I imagine they're running the Fuji setup, the cornering one, not the Lamont version. Berserker, hello to you, also running Audi. Unfortunately, they don't have very many liveries, so telling one apart visually is not the easiest thing in the world. Dalking, our GT3 champion, in the Corvette as well. That roaring noise as he heads along his outlap. Mr. Van Orman, also a regular for the GT3 scene. I just realised I do not have my track map, so I'm going to grab that. Apologies, that's going to cause the stream to pause. I know, absolutely horrendous of me. How dare I? Let me just grab hold of that. Move those around, and that should bring us back into play once again. Kuza, also a regular of the GT3 season, also in the Corvette. Colonel McCoy, seen in both the Endurance League and GT3 leagues. He was in the Porsche yesterday. He was the sole Porsche in the Le Mans race GT3 yesterday. And he is in the Audi, heading down towards Acro Minerale. Black Panther, now that's a name I'm not familiar with, and he's in the Ferrari. It looks like the sole Ferrari, or certainly the only one I've seen so far. And the Ferrari doesn't get as much, that's an unusual line coming through Gigato. The Ferrari doesn't see as much popularity in the GTE leagues as it used to see in the GT3 leagues. But we'll see how our Black Panther can do. Brzanczyk. Oh, he's in the Ford. I am pretty sure he was in LMP last time for the Endurance League. He's in the Ford this time around. Logan. Okay, a crabbing Toyota for Logan. I suspect that was lag more than anything else, unless he's managed to bend the laws of physics. Chloe, the coordinator for the Project CARS, or recently assigned Project CARS 2 coordinator in the M6. Okie dokie. That's not a name I'm familiar with, so welcome to you, Kleinstein. Also running the Audi. We'll see some times come on the board. 124.8 for Leon, 25.7 for Inky Chris, 26.0 for Berserker, 130.9 for Kleinstein. I mean, qualifying doesn't hold an awful lot of importance in a 2-hour race, but we run it nonetheless. Who else haven't we seen? Again, another name I'm not familiar with, also running Ferrari, so a pair of those in the field. Marley Bacho. I think that's how that name is spelt. So welcome to you. Coxon, again, a name I'm not familiar with, yet to leave pit lane. What are you in? That looks like Audi. It is indeed. You're in an Audi. Let's have a look at our field then. Leon, our current pole man for the LMP1 Aces, with that 24.8. 9/10 of a second ahead of Inky Chris, and it is Dalking that is our GTE leader. 10 GTEs, 7 LMP1Hs. It does list Andrex as being in a road car, which that is only because he is. I'm just going to double check everything is working. Should be. Oh, what caused me to do that is Andrex has just asked me, am I alive? I just realised I'm not in Discord, so he can't join me. That would be why. That's what's probably confused him. Or he's just double checking I haven't forgotten about this particular league, like I would. So apologies there. Once again, the stream pausing. That should sort that out as well. So that is our 17 drivers. We did have a late joiner after the session had begun. Let's see then. Oh, Empower has taken the GTE pole with a 1:39.021 in the Corvette. Van Ommen is half a second behind. Oh wow, he's very determined. Where is he? He's coming down to Toza. Oh, I can't get enough of the Corvette noise out that big old slide there. That's one of the Audis coming up behind it. So what we'll have here, ladies and gentlemen, is, as I say, the remainder of this 15-minute qualifying session. And then it's a 2-hour race here around Imola. As is the standard. Oh, Van Ommen's determined to get the most out of that Corvette. And he's backed out of it. He was not happy with the tail getting very, very loose. Oh, Bo! I hadn't spotted you. He's also running the Ford. Bo's becoming a regular in the endurance side. So welcome to you. I think Bo's done some GT3 stuff as well. There's fidgeting going on in the top 3 of... Well, there's fidgeting going on throughout the grid, but the LMP1Hs have had a bit of a second and third. Inky Chris jumping back up into second, actually, ahead of Berserker. Oh, that was more horses than was able to grip there for Berserker as he was trying to power out of Aqua Minerale. Did not quite happen for him. Where's Bo? There he is. Where is he? He's coming down the hill from Piratella. So, when the Ferrari's ahead. Oh, yeah, that didn't sound nice. The one thing I don't like about the Ford is its engine noise. I've mentioned this before. No bones about admitting that again. The Ferrari sounds good. The Corvette sounds glorious. The M6 sounds pretty nice. Not a fan of the Ford. Oh, wow. Again, that's an unusual way of coming through Variante Alta. Let's follow Bo down to the end of his lap. We'll do a hot lap on the GTEs and then we'll do one in the LMPs. Oh, wow. I would think Bo's running a very, very loose setup by the way that he's sliding around, and still Coxon has not come out. Over the line for Bo. And let's say 141.748. As, Empower has, Dalking has just jumped up to second in the blue Corvette. Oops, and dropped it by the time he gets back to Trigado. Who should we follow? Well, Mr. Van Ommen's pulled over. Going very, 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 very slowly. Ah, he's got a Porsche coming up behind him. Oh, still going slow. He ran out of fuel. Nope. Another LMP1 going. And another one. Ah, now off goes Van Olmen. Currently 9th. 139.539. Third in class. He has just half a second to find to get to the top of the GTE standards. Here we go then. We will ride on board with Van Olmen and then we'll pick one of the LMP1Hs to do the same thing. So you can see the contrast with the lines they take, but more importantly the speeds that they achieve. So into Trigado they come. Oh wow, Van Olmen is also very, very, very loose. You saw him basically just forward sliding into that second turn out of Tamburello, heading towards the Vilnius chicane. Down again. It doesn't quite catch the apex, but no, the tail just did not want to know. And that has brought an end to Mr. Van Olmen's lap. I don't know, he's continuing, interestingly. I'm surprised he didn't reset after that. A lot of fidgeting going on. Where's Leon? Leon is coming to the Ravazza, so hopefully he will do another lap. We'll follow him then through his next lap, assuming how much fuel has he got on board? He might not be doing another time lap. We will see. Does Leon's time change? It does. He improves with a 24.2. He's bringing that one to an end. He's going to fly off the road and bring his lap to an end. Where is Inky Chris in the Porsche? He is coming through Piratella. Ah! Coxon's come out. He is coming down to Ravazza himself, coming past the M6. Chloe in the sole BMW in this race. Let's follow Coxon through his lap then. Let's see if we can get a hot lap done in the LMP1Hs. Dumps the battery as he charges up through the gears. Up to full crank. Now, was this the out lap or was it a time lap? It was a time lap with 138, but that's not Hill there. Only puts him quicker, only just quicker than the GTE, so we can expect more from the Audi. Through Trigado, through Tamburello, and that is I forgot he was running the oh, he didn't go for the move. He felt blocked by the blue Corvette. I've already forgotten who's running it. It wasn't Berserker. Empower? No, wrong Corvette. Dalking? Yeah, there we go. There goes Coxon then. And he's put himself on the back of the LMP. He'd have started there anyway. So that lap hasn't really done a great deal for him. 3 minutes 15 remaining for anybody to improve on their lap, which is time enough for everybody. I mean, if Vandrix wanted to come out in the BMW Road D car, he could do. He's good enough to set a time. That's one of the. That must be Chloe coming out then. It is indeed. Chloe coming out for another. Well, she'll have time to do the out lap and get on the time lap. Currently 5th in class, bang in the middle with a 141, 148. There goes one of the NPs flying past. Everybody. Well, in fact, that is everybody that is back out on circuit now. All the Ferraris are close together. They're trying to slip through. Oh, Logan's just jumped back to the pits in the Toyota. 5th position with a 129.221, and Coxon has put in a 130.1. Let's try and follow him through the rest of his lap then. We got this far before. We're heading up to the Vilnius chicane. That is Chloe in the M6 getting out of the way. He still looks pretty determined, is Coxon, so we'll follow him through the rest of the lap. Up to Toza. Down through the gears. Control the throttle on the exit. Using a fair amount of the AstroTurf on the outside and charges up the hill towards Piratella. It's much easier than you think to fly off the road there. Oh, caught the apex a little too hard and unsettled the car, but keeps it going. Back down the hill, Aqua Minerale, the double right-hander. Nicely done, uses as much of the AstroTurf as he dares. Variante Alta is next. It's so easy to get this one all kinds of wrong. The curbs are vicious there. He's very, very cautious through there. Does not want to invalidate his lap. It still looks valid. Down the hill now, heading towards Ravazza. Oh, that's one of the Audis that's trying to give himself space. You can be penalised for impeding during qualifying, but whoever that is has got their foot down and got on with it, so no problem there for Coxon. And he's going to come over the line. Oh, that Audi looks like he's pulling out of the way. No. Is just taking his time to get up to speed, and that is a 1:27.719, half a second behind Conor McCoy, and then 5th position for Coxon then. He does have enough fuel for another lap if he so chose to. Where is Leon? There he is. Oh, wow. That's very determined on the exit of the Villeneuve chicane. Leon is on a mission now. Another one of the Audis in the background there, pulling over and jumping back to the pit. I think that was actually Coxon. Less than 30 seconds then before the checkered flag falls. Back down the hill for Aqua Minerale. Oh, he's gone over the... You can take some of that inside line. That inside eight. No, I thought he'd invalidated it. He's now going to go for a bit of a... Oh, nice. Scrapes his nose along the ground. But remains in pole by 1.2 seconds with that 24.2. And checkered flag is out. Colonel McCoy, can he do anything? Currently 4th with a 27.2. Oh, that looks a little clumsy coming through Variante Alta. M-Power is out there as well in his Corvette, trying to improve on his already impressive pole time. He holds that by 0.3 of a second over Dalking. Corvette is king once again. Here comes Conor McCoy. Can he improve? Answer is... The line's such a long way down the road. No, is the honest answer to that. And he kills his engine. Oh, he ran out of fuel! How about that for perfect fuel calculation? And Paris still up there. A couple of minutes before qualifying is officially done. 1:39.021 is the GT pole time. Can the mighty M-Power improve upon it? Answer is... He does not. No improvement then for the GT frontrunner, and Bo is slow, so Bo is probably already under AI control. Or he's just out there for a leisurely drive. So that is going to form our grid. Now, as mentioned, the grid is not all that important in a 2-hour endurance race, but it still makes sure everything is working, and it decides what order they start in as opposed to championship order or some such. So, leading the LMPs, and Leon the sick one is going to share the front row with Inky Chris, then Berserker, Conor McCoy, Coxon, Logan and Kleinstein. And then the GTEs is led by M-Power and Dalking, followed by Van Ommen, Dakuza, Chloe, Bo, Brzanczyk, Atlas Gerin, Marley Bacho, I think that's how that's said, apologies if it's not, and Black Panther. With Andrex, as I say, technically leading the way as he will be the pace car in that Stanceworks BMW. Hopefully we don't have a server problem. We will see. There was this nervous wait at this point in time. Just in case, I'm just going to do something here. In case we do have a server issue, it does look like we have got one at the moment, unfortunately. I'm just taking a picture of the starting grid in case we need to utilize it. I'm waiting for confirmation on what is going on. Just pinging a message over to Andrex, who's the coordinator for this league. Oh, nope, never mind. Never mind. It just took a long time to get down to the grid. So, welcome along, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this evening's race. You see that the timer at the top will indeed reset. 2 minutes then for our drivers to select their relevant setups. And what will happen is Andrex at the tail of the field will filter his way through and then lead the field pardon me, lead the field through. Few of you spotting that it's indeed myself, not Yorkie. Yorkie is on holiday. He is sunning himself in Sicily. Lucky, lucky man. So I have the good fortune of taking over for this week. I am the stand-in for the Project Cars side. It's actually been a while since I last did an endurance commentary. And I'll be joined by the awesome Andrex. Once he has done his pace car duties, he will park the BMW back in the pits and join me at my side so we can talk about these 17 drivers, 10 GTEs, 7 LMP1Hs. Oh, pardon me. Almost belched down the microphone. How unprofessional of me. So, the 2 hours does include the formation lap. So we ignore the lights. They can rev all they like. Oh, that's a sideways looking Toyota. Now there's Andrex, you can see, working his way through the middle of the field. Leon's very much wanting to get on with it. Oh no, that's not the car I was aiming for. Leon's gone. Has Leon forgotten that we have a pace car? Now what will happen here, if I bring up the map, you will see that a gap will form. It's not quite there yet, because the GTEs are still a little bit too close to the LMPs. What will happen is when we get towards the end of the lap, the GTEs and the LMPs will split. So that gap you can see between the 2 classes will spread out, just so I have the opportunity to cover both starts. There, you see M-Power's backing everybody up now. We bung the... Now the speedo is more useful in this particular category, so we can see what the fuel amounts are. The Audis will have less fuel than the Porsches and the Toyotas, but they are diesel, so they should burn... Oh, Leon! Don't throw your car into the wall now. As mentioned, the Audis are diesel, so they should go through their fuel slower, but it has caught the Audis out before. Yeah, I vividly remember, I can't remember which season it was, I think it was season 3, Monza, where the lead Audi had to pit for the last lap, which handed Yorkie the win. He was champion that season as well. There, if you look at the map now, you'll see the divide in the 2 classes. So here is all of the LMPs, all 7 of them, being led by the BMW. And then you can see for yourself the gap between the LMPs if I just go over the crest. There you go. It's almost the length of that straight. In between... Oh, I haven't got my map ready because I took pictures of the starting order in case I needed them. So in between Nakara Minerali and Variante Alta, and M-Power will continue to hold back the LMPs. The LMPs and GTs. Into Ravazza. Now, what will happen at this point is that Andrex will probably thunder away now. You can see Leon's backing up the LMPs. Andrex will pull his car into the pits. And the 2x2 line will continue for the LMPs. There goes the BMW. And when Leon is ready, he will floor it to signify the beginning of the race. There we go. We are racing here at Imola, of course, with Leon getting a very good start. Berserker. Wow, Berserker straight on Leon's case, and the 2 Audis absolutely fine. The Berserker's just absolutely mugged Leon, but Leon's gone way too deep in that first chicane. That's caught him out so much that he's flown over that first chicane. Absolutely unreal. Wow, Berserker just came out of nowhere to take the lead. The GTEs are just about to get underway as well. So M-Power now can signify the beginning of the race by doing the exact same thing. He will floor it. We'll catch up with them in a bit. Inky Chris is on the back of Berserker. Leon down to 3rd with that mistake. Coxon 4, Conan McCoy 5, Logan 6th, and Kleinstein at the tail of the field. Now the GTEs are underway. Here they come into that first chicane themselves. M-Power holding on to the lead there. Oh, Van Hollen 2. There's Dowking 3. He's lost a position already. A Corvette Swanson up front. The lead forward being, that is a Bo. That is the lead forward. There's Chloe in the BMW. Brzanczyk is in there.
Hello.
Well, hello, good sir. Hello, beautiful Scotsman.
Hello. I didn't catch the start, but Leon's dropped down to third.
Well, yes. He got rather surprised by Berserker's astounding start and did some sandcastle building in the middle of Trogado and Taparetto.
Oh dear.
I'm going to boost your volume a little bit, as compared to everything else on my side, you're a tad quiet. So just going to do that, return to the action, and we should get this back underway. If my computer kindly behave himself, there we go. And Bo has got himself a penalty already. He's got himself a 2-second penalty.
Yeah, the lead 3 LMPs are just starting getting a little bit of a gap there, to be fair. Leon's just holding on to the back of Inky Chris right now. He's keeping it within distance. Obviously got the pace in qualifying, and we've seen him throughout the rest of the season already so far that he's the man to beat in the LMP class, so I suspect he's going to try and get himself back into at least P2 quite early on, and then challenge Berserker as well later on as well.
So, I wonder why that's Berserker decided to absolutely dump the battery and get up into that pole spot.
Well, I guess it's not the easiest track to pass on, Imola, so I suspect track position counts for quite a lot. So it's, well, I guess it's a bit of a risky strategy because then you've got faster people behind you. But it's all fair in love and war. It's a legitimate tactic. If you're ahead, you're ahead, and you can control the race. So it stops people from disappearing off in the distance ahead of him. So fair play.
Having a look at our GTEs, quite a few of the GTEs are getting penalties on the board now. Dalking and Dalking and Chloe get penalties as well, as Dakuza has just lost a position to Bo in the Ford. The top 3 Corvettes, all that beautiful roar as they come. No Astons, I notice.
No.
It needs the double A, the Andrex Aston in there.
It does, but Omen is all over the back of Emperor right now. I think they're teammates, so I suspect they're just going to play nicely, hopefully. Using a lot of the curb going through that chicane there, so...
Well, the GTE should handle that a bit better than the LMPs, no?
Will do, yeah. They're not quite so rigid, so yeah, they'll take a bit more curb than the LMPs can. But Dalking, after last night's victory at Lamont in the GT3 class, taking his maiden victory this season, is still hanging in there, certainly within striking range. So I think he's just probably being patient, just sitting there and quite happily just to hold third for the time being. Figure out where they're maybe a little bit stronger than the others, or maybe a little bit weaker, where you can plan for an attack later on, perhaps. And it's strategy as well, so you might be trying to conserve a bit of fuel, perhaps, as well.
I think Leon may be a little bit upset about how the start's gone, because he's now left Inky Chris for dead and is charging off after Berserker, shaving a second off his last lap time. Now, we've mentioned many a time before about how, sitting in strategy is not always the easiest thing when the red mist has descended.
No, so but whenever you're following somebody, it's if it's getting close to kind of the pit stop window, that you're going to have enough fuel to fill up to the end, then it can be strategic to pit in early, come out into clean air. But the risk of that is that you're then probably going to be dropped down further back into the field and potentially into the slower drivers, and then get stuck behind the slower driver. So it's definitely kind of swings and roundabouts. You might get that clean air if you time it well and get a gap, but it could easily work against you. And then of course you've got tyres that are a little bit older towards the end of the race as well, so that might slow you down towards the end of the stint. So yeah, there's a fair bit to consider when running your strategy. It's generally speaking probably best to aim about 50% of the way through, but just fill the tank up to start with, so that you're stopped for as little time as possible when refueling for the last stint, or the third stint of LMP. I don't know if it needs a third stint in those, but GTE wise it'll certainly only be a one stop. But yeah, it says there's definitely a few things to consider, and obviously if you've got any damage early on, then it's worthy of certainly more tactical to pit early, get that fix, and then come back out and charge. But yeah.
Berserker has an angry Leon in his mirrors. He's been they're working their way past the GTEs now. Of course, the LMPs will put quite a few laps on the GTEs by the end of the race. Now, for those that possibly haven't seen our endurance leagues before, it is the prerogative of the faster class to make their way past the slower ones. It is not encouraged for the GTEs to jump out of the way of the LMPs. In fact, that's highly discouraged to allow for the LMPs to plan their move properly. Oh, I've just realised Coxon is actually one of the fastest LMPs, but is down in 7th in class at the moment, so he's had a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
He's some way off the back of Logan, so he's binned it somewhere. But Leon, look at that.
And Omen has dropped down to 3rd in class, so Dalkin's got past. He was closing in. I did notice he was certainly within the warning triangle of about 1 second.
What's going on with Leon? Big problem with Leon. He's very, very slow, crawling literally around Rivats. Oh, he's had a slowdown penalty.
Yes, most likely on the exit of that chicane, perhaps, I think.
Oh no! He's had a collision with Berserker. He's letting Berserker go, I think. Oh no, he's letting Berserker catch up with him because Inky Chris is now leading the way. So as I looked away from the LMPs, they've had their own problem. And Leon was very, very slow, either allowing a slowdown warning to tick down or letting Berserker kind of catch up with him again. Are they teammates, Leon and Berserker?
No, I don't think so.
Well, they are running slightly different liveries. There's not really a lot of livery choice in the LMP 180s, but
Just seeing them getting past these GTE cars quite nicely. It's all safe. GTE's holding their line. That's what we like to see.
yeah, as that is Takuza. I think they've just gone past. Is indeed with Bo in short succession. So something has definitely happened in our LMP 180s as Inky Chris leads them by 3 seconds. Now Berserker well caught, sir. The tail really stepping out on his car. And M-Power doing what M-Power does. He is got into a 1.5 second lead over Dalking. As the
But Chloe going for a position change in P12 and 5th in class. And he's just got past, but he's spun it on the exit of the chicane. And it's Bo that's got back in front.
Unfortunate then for the M6. As
He'd done the hard part. He'd done all the hard work to get past, catch up and get past, and then he dropped it on the exit. Got to do all that again and a bit more catching up to do.
Atlas Garen is still fairly close to Brzezinski. It's for 7th in class. As one of the Porsches, or no, one of the Toyotas has just flown past. Now we should be getting into kind of settling down into rhythm. Inky Chris.
Yeah, just having a quick look at the lap times here. I've got Inky, it's currently in the lead, done a 28. I've got Leon in second, which is recovering after last lap.
Berserker's binned it again at Trigado, so now down to 4th.
No.
So everyone seems to be really, really loose.
It might be just the nature of certainly the LMP cars handling those curbs. It can be very unsettling and it almost beaches the car if you get it right down the centre of the under tray, and then you lose traction, and then when you do get traction again, it just suddenly bites, and it can easily kick you out and start facing you the wrong way very rapidly. Got to be pretty quick to catch it.
Logan is catching the back of Kleinstein. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. That's what I'm running with, unless I'm told otherwise. Ooh, Chloe right in the middle.
Chloe disappeared.
Well, that's
there he is.
That's one way to do it. It is a little extreme. The GTs don't have to fly off the road, but they can, of course, opt to get out of the way, as long as they do so in a way that does not impede others around them. Oh wow, someone kicking up a lot of tyre smoke coming out of Rivatsa. I see who that was. Dalking is 1.2 behind M-Power, so we could see a power struggle at the top of the GTEs. That's terrible. I'll go home immediately.
Got Logan not far away from Kleinstein still, just following him through the traffic there. Berserker's not too far away. In fact, he's very close to Colonel McCoy.
Yeah, that's the
Colonel McCoy. In fact, Berserker's last lap was a 37 with that when he dropped it. so he's hopefully got the pace to get past. But as I say, catching someone's one thing, but getting past somebody, certainly at Imola, is not the easiest thing to do. So Inky Chris just outside the 26, he's a 27.1. Leon putting the first 26 on the board, a 26.5, so half a second quicker, and a 2.5 second deficit to catch. So at that rate, we're probably looking at 5-6 laps, and he should be back on his tail, challenging for the lead.
There goes Berserker and Colonel McCoy. Oh, he got very crossed up coming into Variante Alta, and there we go,
dumping the cars.
Oh, didn't he just? Is Colonel McCoy going to have a crack at him back at...
Yes, I think.
Yeah, I'll rather answer that question. Still side by side, coming through Ravazza. Wow, Colonel McCoy. Now, I've seen in the past, I don't mean to be disingenuous, but, Colonel McCoy would be a driver that would kind of let a move go, but he was not interested in doing that right there, was he? He was fighting that one to the last. Berserker winning out eventually, but fair play to Colonel McCoy for getting his elbows out on that one.
Yeah, it's also it's difficult because of the KERS usage as well. Some people use it in different places, so they will naturally be faster in one place than the other. So somebody will get past you straight away, and then you've got more KERS in them, you'll use it, and you'll get back past them again. So there'll be a lot of trading positions, but as I say, Imola's not the best place for overtaking, so again, quite tactical. If you can get you can get in front of somebody before the kind of tighter, twistier sections where you can't pass, then it's a good option to do if you can.
GT lead is still pretty close. Dowking now less than a second behind Empower. So last time around, Dowking had a pretty bad
48. Yeah. It's not. Was it penalties? Because he's still within striking range of Empower, so it must be penalty.
Yep, 9 seconds of penalties on Mr. Dowking.
It's not insignificant, even for a 2-hour race.
That could hurt by the end of it. That's the nature of Imola as well, and also just that you don't want to lose more time than the penalty will gain. So
there's a spinning Ford. Who's that? That is Bo. Just regaining back on the track behind Chloe, letting those two cars pass Chloe right up the back of Takuza, the Corvette.
That's for fourth. Oh dear, Black Panther has spun in the Ferrari, I think. They seem to have had a bit of a trouble down at Tosa. There's a lot of cars there. Logan and Coxon side by side. So Coxon's gotten back into his drive from his earlier problems, now working his way through the GTE leads.
That's a perfect place to catch the GTEs right there.
Oh, Logan! Oh, Logan had a kind of... Oh, hello! That's one way to do it. Okay.
Come on, LMPs, get a move on, let's go. You should be quicker than me.
Oh, we've lost one of our LMPs. We only had 7. Oh,
where's Logan going?
Logan.
Is that lag? Okay, yeah. Lag, I think.
Yeah, that called me out earlier as well. We've lost one of our LMPs. We only had 7 of them, and I can't remember which one it is we've lost. It is...
Oh, it's Leon.
Oh,
Leon
no.
has gone from P2. He was catching up on Inky Chris by half a second a lap again on the last lap, but he has gone. A disaster. He has got a plentiful gap in the championship. In fact, I'm just going to have a quick reach at the scoreboards right now, because in fact no, it's Inky Chris that's on P1 and Colonel McCoy on P2. Leon could have really done with a very good result here. He's 11 points behind Inky right now. Inky is on point for a win again if this stays up as it is.
Now with 15 seconds all to himself, Kleinstein is... I don't recognise the name, so I'm assuming a newcomer to these parts?
Not to AOR, I've seen him around, but relatively new to endurance certainly.
As Coxon has just dumped the battery on the exit of Ravazza and gone through into that 4th position. Coxon's also a name I don't recognise, so is that a new one as well? Mr. Andrex?
Say again, sorry?
I say, is Coxon a new name as well? Because that's one I don't recognise.
Yes, I think he was also in the IMSA for Season 1 of the IMSA League as well.
GTE lead battle rages on.
Indeed, looking at the lap times again, has Dalking picked up another 2-second penalty or so, I'm guessing, because
He's after
he
12,
is
yes.
still within the same second gap, and yet he's done the 47 as opposed to M-Power's 45.
He's not defying physics. He's defying track limits.
They're matching lap times, but he's just picking up penalty after penalty at the moment, and that is not going to do him any favours towards the end.
No,
he's got about a 15-second gap over Omen in third, but we know Omen's got some decent pace in him, so you can't afford to be doing that at this rate for 2 hours.
No. There isn't a point where they become disqualified. There's just a point where they'll still technically be racing in 2 weeks' time by penalty.
Pretty much, yes. Several laps down.
Well, Dalking still occupying the mirrors of M-Power. It is generally the way, though, that IGTEs do tend to have a closer battle a lot of the time than the LMPs. Again, I mean, no disingenuity with that. It's just a statement of fact.
Yeah, it's essentially down to the fact that the more powerful the car, any kind of difference in skill and ability is magnified by that power, essentially. So the slower the car is, the closer the racing is. We've seen that in other leagues, notably the previous Ginetta leagues, where it was battle absolutely everywhere on track on the full grid. Whereas, as I say, on LMPs, they do tend to spread out, certainly over an hour. But we've seen races at the end coming down to last corner races, so it's not how you start, it's not how you do the first hour, it's where you are at the end of the race. So you're racing against the clock as much as you're racing against the other cars around you. And
or the penalty count.
Well, that exactly as well. It does not help if you're racking those up, collecting those like candy.
Atlas Gerin is right with. Is it Marley Bacho? Is that?
It is indeed. Marley, yeah.
So there's a battle forming there for 8th between the Ford and the Ferrari.
But Atlas has done a 56.9, so I don't know if that was penalties.
No penalty. Oh, another one gone.
Oh, who did we just drop?
That's a GTE.
It was the person at the end of the GTE, the last.
Oh, Marley's got that all crossed up. That would be Black
Atlas dives through in the middle and the inside. Not quite.
Black Panther
LMP
has
goes
gone.
past.
Oh, yes, he has.
Yeah.
Wow, the Ford. So now that is wooden spoon avoidance between Atlas Gerin and Bacho.
Dalking is right on the back of M-Power right now. He is giving him the hurry up. He is having a look up the inside. I don't think he'll go at defeat here, but okay.
Well, he's not wanting to lose any more time, is he? Is Mr. Dalking? They come through Villeneuve into
He's not. He's certainly showing his intent and just trying to put some put M-Power off more than anything else, I suspect, because I don't think many of these places are really viable passing places when you're this close to one another in terms of pace. So he's almost maybe trying to force a bit of a mistake from M-Power, try and get him to run wide or brake too late, or just something to unsettle him and see if he can sneak through. But it's mighty close.
And that's no easy thing to do with someone like M-Power. He's done this quite a few times. There is, I believe, is that our one and only Porsche in Inky Chris?
I think it is, yes.
So, this is what it looks like from Inky Chris's perspective. That's how easy the pass is, and that's what it looks like for M-Power. So you've got to be mindful of the fact that you've got a German torpedo flying past you, but you've got to be mindful it's there so you don't turn into it. But again, you've got to be predictable when they're closing at you at that kind of rate of knots, and we have seen it go wrong before. If you suddenly jump out of the way when they committed to the passing move, you could jump in their way and end up with a very expensive and twisted metal mess off into the dust somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's the LMP cars. It's obviously their duty to get round the slower class safely, and a lot of that is down to getting the exit of the corner right so that they can power out. They'll have better acceleration than the GTE cars. In the slower corners, there's probably not much difference between them. As much as they've got much better brakes, they're carrying more speed going into the corners, so they're actually braking at more or less the same place. So it's difficult to kind of just outbrake a class. So it's much easier and safer to obviously do it on a straight, ideally, but if not, then probably try gear up the corner, hold back a little bit as you go into the corner, have that bit of a gap, get on the power early, and then go past them safely on the inside, ideally. But as you say, a lot of the GTE cars make the kind of classic mistake of, I'm going to try and make it easy for you to get past me, I'm going to do you a favour and go off the racing line to let you through, when that's where the LMP car is actually trying to go to do the pass. So all of a sudden you get two cars in the same place, and then that doesn't really work very often. So picking up damage is certainly not what you want on a long race. It affects your pit strategy, affects your lap times, and yeah, it can mess your race up through trying to be nice and kind to others, and get yourself in trouble, really.
We have a battle for 5th between Einstein and Logan.
Indeed.
So that's wood spoon avoidance again. The Audi of Kleinstein trying to fend off
Toyota versus Audi.
We've seen this once or twice before, I think.
Oh, and Atlas has got in front of Mali. Oh, and they've traded back again. The Ferrari holds onto it. Atlas demoted back down to last right now, but here comes, well, I'm guessing it must be Inky Chris.
That is indeed Inky Chris. And
he should power around the outside.
On board with Inky Chris, you can see how limited the visibility is. There is not a lot of, you catch someone in the blind spot, which is quite easy to do in the LMPs. But then if we look at Dalking, for instance, they've got a much bigger window to look through.
Oh, they're side by side.
Just as I cut
he's through, and he's gone round the outside. Outstanding. That is amazing.
Move.
I missed the start. I don't know if he'd managed to pressure M-Power into a slightly wider exit or something, but again, it's a bit of an unusual place to go for a pass, but he feels he's obviously got the pace to get past and move away, but he's picked up a penalty and he's having to give it back.
What a shame.
It's the first penalty he's decided to slow down for.
It was probably the return to second, or return to wait.
Might have been indeed. Yeah, that would have been a 30-second penalty if that could have.
Not that I've had one or two of those in my my videos. One of the
I've done all the hard work again. Denied. Well, that keeps that battle alive for a little bit longer as well.
M-Power was, I think, has M-Power picked up another penalty? Possibly 5 and 15 seconds.
He must have done, because I don't think he had one before, did he?
I think he did. Oh, we have our first pitter already.
Yes,
Coxon.
That is very early.
Yes, half a litre, less than. Wow, you underfueled. Oh, no, didn't quite get the pit box right. And that's actually easier than you might think, to get the pit entry wrong, or to get your pit box wrong. But
why is he so low fueled? Is that a third? It's not a third of the race.
Nowhere near.
It's only half an hour down.
Yeah.
That's a 3-stop strategy at that rate. I don't know that that's a viable op.
Well, he's committed to it now.
Drops him down to last place. He'll have to fill up full, which I think he has now. I don't know if he can 2-stop it or not now.
Oh, Dalking, my goodness me. You can probably tell what colour underpants that M-Power's wearing. He's been so close for so long. And still they battle on. And oh, that's another one gone. That's oh no, there's one of our NMPs, I think.
Oh, who would that? Inky Berserker's still up there.
Kleinstein's still with us. Coxon's come back out on track. We only have 5 NMPs left now. We aren't going to have any left by the end of the race.
No.
Oh, down King! Oh. It was a little close once again between the two lead Corvettes.
Yeah, and the other thing is, he's now potentially shown where he's faster and feels he can pass with that previous attempt. So Emperor will be wise to that now and may take a more defensive line. He's squeezing him, but he's still going for it. He left a car width. Bit of contact, a bit of nudging going on there. He is through. I would say that was pretty fair, to be honest. Emperor did leave a car's width gap and he held it. He was too late to close it down any more than that. And Dalking just went charging up the inside. It wasn't really a dive bomb. He got it slowed down in plenty of time. And he's got that position. A little bit of probably yellow paintwork on his right hand side, but can he move away?
No, he comes
Emperor's still pressuring.
I did think he was going to have a crack at that into Variante Alta. It's Colonel McCoy that's we've lost from NFPs. Well spotted for those in chat that highlighted that one. So the battles we've got are the first and last in the GTE class at the moment. LMPs. The remaining LMPs are very spread out now.
Indeed, just looking at that battle at the back of the grid there from the GTEs, we've got Atlas that did a 44 against Mali, did a 47, so that's a 2-second gap. Whether or not there was a time penalty for Mali or not, I don't know.
Well, he's on 7.
But,
so
he is right on the back now.
Yep, indeed he is. Now, is this going to be an opportunity for... Oh, Dalking looked a little scruffy coming through Chicado and Tamburello. Are they going to be running...
Well, it compromises exit speed there quite a lot.
Are they going to be
not
running
enough
much
to
wing?
let Emperor?
Are they going to be running much wing in the GTEs?
I would say maybe medium, but some of the corners are quite slow corners where the downforce, like the aero grip, doesn't really kick in that much. There's a couple of faster sections, but not a huge amount, so low downforce again is not going to be a massive advantage. I would certainly say medium downforce, perhaps medium to high. I think the low downforce for that one pit straight is a bit of a false economy. You'll be fast along that stretch, but you'll suffer elsewhere in the track. So, yeah, down to 14 drivers now.
Oh yes, that was with Colonel McCoy's departure, wasn't it? Yeah.
We've got Inky Chris having done a 129, and I've got Berserker in P2 with a 1:40. 10 seconds off the pace.
He's on 5. He must have made a mistake because he's lost 5 seconds in that lap alone. So
well, 10 I think, but he's 25 seconds down.
He probably got a 5-second penalty and lost 5 seconds in whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
As M-Power is actually falling off of the back of Dalking, so...
Yeah, I think Dalking's got the pace at the moment. He was obviously right up behind him and catching him for quite a while. Now that he's got ahead, he should potentially pull away, but Atlas is following Mali right now and matching his...
a little wide
more or less
Atlas.
Matching his... his racing line there, but maybe not if you get caught out with a car ahead braking a little bit earlier than you'd expect, and that is a thing as well that and certainly with different cars as well, that they have different strengths and weaknesses. In fact, I just caught sight of the GTE leaders not too far behind these guys, so they'll be coming through relatively soon. These guys are doing 45s against leaders doing 40s, so 5 seconds a lap difference between the front and the back of the field here. But yeah, again, as much as I think Dalking does have the pace to pull away, Empower's, well, we know he's got some serious pace, so I don't think he's going to just sit back and chill out. With Dalking racking up penalties as well, it's he's still technically ahead right now.
Like quite a way, isn't he? It's something like 10-second difference in the penalties. Let's have a look.
Indeed.
6 well, wow, 12 now. Dalking's, every time I look at his penalty count, it's gone up even more. He'll ban me from looking at that tab in a minute. Again, looking at Atlas Garian on the back of the Ferrari of Marley Batcher as they have gone over the line once again. Almost identical lap time, so no further penalty incurred for them.
Atlas is carrying a fair bit of more fuel at the moment though. In this Ford he's got 47 or just under 48 litres as opposed to the Ferrari carrying 37 right now. I don't know what the leaders have got. They've got 44 and 42.
We should be seeing our LMPs coming in soon, with the exception of...
Oh, who's that going off wide at the background?
No, that was Kleinstein that was getting the exit of Villeneuve a little bit wrong.
You can see that gap between Dalking and M-Power increasing now, and the more traffic they get in between and interrupting their ideal line as well, perhaps is just going to extend that as well.
Yep, that's our race leader, Inky Chris, coming through again. 26 seconds his gap now to Berserker.
And he's lapping some LMPs right now as well.
Yeah, he is indeed. Oh, this could get a little bit busy. Oops!
Oh.
That's Kleinstein again. I think he kind of panicked because there was a lot of people around and he would have had the blue flag warning from Chris there. So he opted for the safer line and mowed the lawn while he's there. And that's actually put Logan on his case. So you can't do that a great deal often. Oh, Logan trying to figure a way past M-Power.
And that is another thing, obviously the blue flags do apply to the same class racing, so if you are being lapped by somebody in the same class as yourself, then you must obey that blue flag and do your best to move out the way of the leading car and let him pass safely. But yeah, when you've got a lot of traffic of other classes in amongst you as well, it's certainly a lot easier said than done.
Starting then. Working his way, he's got past Atlas Gary.
Gone 3 wide there with an LMP going past a lapping GTE, but that's gone wrong. Logan,
that could be a lagging Logan as well. Oh, and M-Power is now in the mixture as well as as the Ford and Ferrari have swapped round in that entire melee. I didn't actually see that happen.
No, I didn't either, to be fair, no.
As Atlas is now ahead of Marley Bacho, and M-Power has seized the opportunity to close in a bit on Dalking, but I think that march towards that blue lead GTE is going to stall a little bit now, or probably go back the other way now that there's free air for them to drive through. There's Inky Chris, there he is. 20 litres on the Porsche, so he's not going to be seeing the pit lane soon, but I bet the Audis are getting a little bit closer to it. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the race, Hendrix, that whilst the Audi has a smaller tank by quite some way, it doesn't, because it's a diesel, it doesn't chew it up anywhere near as quickly. We're actually kind of seeing that highlighted in the Porsche of Inky Chris with 19.5 litres and Berserker with just under 12. There's some 20 litres difference, I believe, between the two tanks, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, so as you said, it is a smaller tank, but it is more fuel efficient, running off the old diesel. But it kind of evens itself out a little bit, but not totally. And I think, and I can't remember which way around it goes, to be fair, but we have some 2-hour races and we've got some 2.4-hour races, and I think there is a bit of a difference of how many stops it might force you to do on a 2.4-hour race compared to a 2-hour race. Oh, dog's in the house.
Yep, that's my dog, Marley, joining in.
So again, on the longer races, it might be that the Audi does need an extra stop over the top of, say, the Toyota and the Porsche. So, yeah, interesting, because the next race is Le Mans for the 2.4 hours there. So we'll see how that pans out.
Oh, yes. M-Power trying to do exactly what Dalking did to him, but unfortunately he's gone off to build sandcastles on the exit ramp.
Oh dear.
That's a shame, because he was really committed to it, but he committed a little bit later than Dalking did on his, so that unfortunately...
Indeed, looking at lap times again, Dalking at 46, has he picked up more penalties, or is it just really slow through traffic, or...
No, more penalties.
What was he on? He was on 12? Well, okay.
He's on 20 now.
20, wow. I mean, that again, as I say, that is not insignificant. That's that's a second a lap. What's M-Power on right now?
M-Power is on 6.
Indeed. So that's
He's going to have some work to do at the end.
14-second deficit just on penalties. If you can imagine that, at least being a second a lap, 14 laps worth to catch that 1 second a lap up. And he's not a second a lap faster than Empower, so this could be pretty close, you know. Even if he has got the pace over.
Yeah. Battle for third in the NMPs. Logan has caught the back, well, has been catching the back of Kleinstein, but Kleinstein's tank is getting very light. And I think, yeah, Kleinstein and Inky Chris are the only two drivers without a penalty at all. Well, Inky Chris doesn't have anything to worry about. He's not defending against anybody, so that's not entirely surprising. But Kleinstein doing a good job in keeping his car on the black stuff. He's now got a charging Toyota behind him, and he's got, what, 3 laps at best before he's got to come in?
Yeah, I think it's probably around about 2.5 litres a lap or so. But yeah, okay, it's one to keep an eye on for sure.
Indeed. Kleinstein keeps the Toyota at bay for now. Oh wow, 3.7 seconds now, the gap of the GTE leaders. So that battle has, for now...
that was with Empower dropping the back end on the, when he was having a wee speculative look on the outside of Dalking the previous lap.
Oh,
I think he's
Marley Bacho spun, oh, nearly collected Atlas Guerin as he's spun on the downhill section heading towards... well, he was heading towards Atlas Guerin, but that wasn't what I was intending to say. He was heading towards
those
Ravata.
two must have swapped places again then, if he spun out and almost collected him, because Atlas was ahead.
He was, but then in the massive melee we were watching, they swapped round and we didn't see how.
I thought that was when Atlas got past Baku.
That was, but Bacho was behind Atlas Guerin as they were coming down the hill towards Ravata, as the Ferraris then locked up, gone over the grass and nearly smashed into the Ford as he's gone.
Oh right, okay.
So he's gone as the crow flies over Ravata as opposed to
I see.
properly. So that was a little bit close.
So Berserker with just over 7 litres left as well.
I think Kleinstein's the one that's going to be.
He's 5 litres, so he's probably going to do another lap. I don't know that he'll do 2. I think, let's see what he's on now. 5 litres as he starts another lap.
Well, I think that was 1.8, so he's going to be cutting it fine if he does choose to.
Well, if it's under 2, then he should get another second lap out of there. But
Coxon. Now, we saw Coxon take that very early pit stop because he very heavily under-fueled at the beginning of the race. He's caught the back of Lucky. Coxon's been absolutely flying.
Yeah, in 27s, again, he might not have had much traffic to deal with on that lap, but we compare that against Logan up ahead in a 34, that is a massive difference, and he is closing all the time, so... And of course Logan's due a pit stop relatively soon. He's got 16 litres still, so... And he's got some lag as well.
Yeah, as I just cut him when he was...
But yeah, so Coxon will certainly get past him, but it's whether Coxon has messed up his pit strategy or not.
That's the
as
thing.
Logan goes wide there as well. Because I think, and I'm not sure, how many pit stops Coxon is going to need to do now.
That is going to
but he's matching, or almost matching, the leader's pace right now, the 27s.
What's Kleinstein going to do? He does have enough fuel to do another lap if he chooses to, and he is, well, he's committed to it now. 3.6.
Yeah, he should be okay. It's 5 litres, so it's, as you say, 1.5 litre lap, so he could even do another one. But I would imagine he's probably going to... It would be very tight to do another 2 laps, this one plus another one. But again, it might be that that could potentially roll on for... Well, it's not going to reach half race distance, so he's still going to have to do a splash and dash at the end for more fuel. But the longer you can reach...
Takuzis had an argument with something solid.
He is in the bits and a very scraped up Corvette.
That front is
rather second hand.
That's the view from Coxon's car. As he is... Oh... See, Logan's playing a game of guess where I am.
Yeah, that's a bit scary.
Yeah, just a bit when you're hooning it down the road at 150 plus.
And Logan has got Kleinstein right in front of him as well.
Yeah.
So there's 3 cars all battling for position.
So Coxon's acting as a great camera car for us at the moment. Yeah, so Kleinstein's made a mistake. Oops, Coxon.
Oh, steady.
That is so easy to do though. Now these cars do have traction control, but it's quite easily overwhelmed at some point, particularly if you dump the battery out as well, which you do want to do out of the
you
slower
say
cars.
that, however, if you feel you're actually starting to slide and power slide in the LMPs, the best thing you can do to save it is dump the cars, put that power down, and it seems to magically correct it. I don't know what voodoo is at work at that point, but it does seem to help. If you're sliding, just dump the power and it'll magic you back the right way around.
Kleinstein is going to be relying on ERS energy at this rate. He's gone on again.
Well, if it's a 1.5 a litre a lap, and he had just over, I think it was 1.6 or so at the start of the lap, so, and maybe a little bit of traffic as well will help him a tiny little bit, but I hope he's been having a check. But yeah, the longer you can keep the fuel going without having to pit, then the better. But and I don't know if tyres are an issue here. I don't know if they'll have to change tyres.
I was going to ask that question. Actually, oops!
Oh! Now,
that's a problem.
do you think Logan, or who was Logan that was lagging?
Logan.
Do you think Logan just gave him a bit of a laggy tap there, perhaps?
No, it looked like he just got onto the grass. I think he's done the traditional brake on grass doesn't go, brakes plus grass equals backwards routine. Because the car doesn't look
where's
damaged.
he going now?
He clouted the apex at Alta, very anti-Alta, so it shoved him wide there. But I think he suddenly realised he's being a bit more moderating with the throttle.
Yes.
So, he's off again. Unless he does have damage on the rear, but he doesn't look it. It's difficult to tell. Oh, so that's someone in.
And Logan's in as well. Logan's pitting. And Berserker's pitting. Berserker, sorry.
Yeah, Berserker is in. Logan's gone on. Logan's got another 11 litres. Berserker had 1.6. Kleinstein had 0.3. So he got that calculation right. And it does happen when you in the heat of battle, you can forget your fuel tank. I have seen. It was a Lamont race. I think it was when we did the Triple Crown last year. And
yes,
my faithful companion from the F1 days, Hamish.
You're right, and he couldn't quite get back.
So close.
And he was close. It was on the little straight on the pit exit, pit entry, wasn't it? He
That's right.
Parked it.
Yeah, he got basically an entire lap. What is Logan doing? I'm assuming that was lag because on my screen he just completely cuts the entrance of Variante Alta.
Yeah, it's a bit unnerving when you're following somebody or somebody's following you with that amount of lag and darting all over the place. It's not ideal.
Indeed, but Hamish, I think he crossed the line with 1.2 litres at Lamont. What's 14 kilometres or 16 kilometres or something like that? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's not it's not 1.4 litre a lap, that's for sure.
No, that's longy way to go, and he got all the way round to the exit of the Corvette curves on ERS energy alone. How the hell he did that much? I don't know if he asked anyone for a shove, but no one gave him one, unfortunately, so he came up and joined me in the commentary box after that.
Indeed.
Memories.
Yeah.
So Berserker comes out with a full tank of fuel. He's a lap down from Inky Chris.
Who is piling in the decent lap times. He's got a bit of clean air right now. He's done around 26 again. So a very competitive lap time right there. Berserker with his pit stop is a 2:42, but obviously he's going to get going again. Coxon with a 1:30 and Logan with a 33, and Kleinstein with a 2:50 with a pit stop as well. So yeah, I'm interested to see where Coxon's going to come out with strategy-wise.
Very much so. Inky Chris should, I would imagine, be coming into the end of this one, or at the end of the next one at worst. So there's not a lot of gas left in the Porsche.
Indeed.
GTs are still pretty spread apart. 3 seconds separates the GT lead. There they are in that shot. King ahead of M-Power. And lap times between the two are within 200 of a second.
Yeah.
Wow. And Omen.
And Omen as well.
Just seen that. It's a shame that he's had his earlier troubles. He's 26 seconds behind M-Power. All three of them last time around within a tenth of a second.
Bit of double lapping going on there as M-Power got past the Ford, and the Audi was going past at the same time, 3 wide.
Is when these guys get within a tenth of a second of when they're at Lamont. That's the one that all Nords or something. That's really what amazes me. Is like, how are you so close on such a big track? How do you do it?
Yeah.
King.
Well, you've got to start with the basics of just consistency to start with, and not be chasing the ultimate lap times. Just get the consistency, get lap times within 5 seconds to start with as a base, and then figure out where you can kind of improve just a little bit, and just gradually kind of take some of the corners a little bit quicker, and then you're going to start to find your optimal time that you probably are not going to beat by too much. And if you've got that consistency, then yeah, and some of these guys are proper top drivers in Project Cars, so the lap times that these guys are getting are probably not much quicker than anyone else could ever do. So they're kind of getting close towards the limits of what the car is capable of. And if you're consistent with that, then yeah, it'll just all add up.
Yeah, consistency over outright pace is something you've often said. I don't think Chris has got that memo, because he's sure as hell hammered the. I mean, he's consistent with it, don't get me wrong, but he's certainly not worrying about sacrificing any pace. He has a lot of it to sacrifice were he to need to. So he's caught the back of, I'm assuming that's M-Power. No, that's a phenomenon. No, I don't know who he's caught then. He's not going to.
What colour was it? Was it blue?
It's a yellow one. It was the bent one we saw earlier.
That'll be Omen then, is it?
No, it's Takuza. Who's last in the.
Inky Chris is in pits.
Yep.
He has 1.5 litres left, so I don't think that is enough for the Porsche to do another full lap.
No.
So in he comes. I didn't actually recall how much of a gap lead he had, but.
It's a full lap.
Let's see where that drops him down.
As Berserker is. Oh, there's not a full lap, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, he's just coming through. He'll take P1 now. Oh no, he won't, because he's got a full tank, so Inky must have lapped him.
It is a full lap there now, I beg your pardon.
So he is very safe. But again, as you said before, in terms of consistency, yes, you can afford to kind of drop down. He's obviously got a whole lap, which is 1.5 minutes lead over the next guy. Okay, it's going to reduce now whilst he's static for fuel. But if you try and reduce your pace, then you're probably doing that by. Or you're getting your lap times by being consistent. So when you're trying to drop your lap time and conserve fuel or whatever, just play safe, then you're altering your driving, and that can lead to making a mistake because you're maybe a little bit slower coming into a corner, or something different about that lap to conserve fuel or take it easier or more safe, and it can end up causing more mistakes. So sometimes, that's a parked Ford.
It's not Bacho, it must be. Who was the other Ferrari?
It is Bo.
Oh,
he is parked from 5th in class.
Oh, it was a Ford, I thought it was a
He's
Ferrari.
got fuel. Why is he static?
There's no inputs going on there, so a technical problem has befallen Bo, and
he's gone. Then there were 30.
Then there went.
Takuza is.
With Bacho.
And his rather second-hand Corvette is just coming back up to Malibacco.
I mean, he would have had some repairs on there, but visually to us, they don't.
Yes, it's just a visual bug from our side. I'm sure on his side it is fully repaired and all good to go. King with a 1 minute 40, Emperor with a 1:44.
I reckon there's a penalty on that, because the gap between King and Empower didn't change by the same degree.
Yeah, Empower is up to 12, but King's on 24, so still a 12-second gap in terms of penalties. And it's not 12-second gap on track, it's about 4. So at this rate, King's going to lose that lead due to penalties.
It won't slide back any further because as Van Orman is 30 seconds behind Empower. So unless it really undoes itself for King, which at that rate he'll be finishing the race next week, as previously mentioned. Oh wow, one of the Audis is getting really squiggly in between Harley Bacho and Takuza. Down gone through. Corvette is remaining in that position at the moment. Berserker
piling in a 26 or a 27 on that one, but it was a previous lap of 26. That's again a very competitive one on a more or less full tank, or 3/4 full tank. But that's the difference when you've got a clear track with no cars to lap or getting in the way. You can get into the 26, 27s, and then you get a bit of traffic, as we'll see in this lap. And you can easily add 3 or 4 seconds onto that lap time. Threading the needle between the two of them.
Nicely done. Logan's in.
That's Chloe in the M6 there.
1.4 litres in the Toyota's tank, so a planned stop for Logan. It wasn't indeed Chloe.
And they're didn't quite reach the halfway mark. It's an hour and 4 minutes, so...
That's a fair point.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's ever managing to reach that half. I think everybody else has had a stop at least. Yeah.
Chris and Kleinstein still no penalties on the board, and that could really play well for them. What's Logan got on the board? Logan's got 13 seconds, so that takes that gap to around about, well, roughly in half. It takes it down to about, because they jumps around when they're in the braking point, so that's actually around about 10 seconds. There are certain points in this track, unfortunately, where the timings go a little bit wonky, but that could, if Kleinstein continues that race, he was 2 seconds quicker than Logan. Of course, Logan's in the pits, that's why the timing's going nuts. So Kleinstein could inherit that spot from Logan, but then, you know, there's plenty of strategy, as we mentioned, to still play out. Who's gonna Coxon, that's a strange line. He's overshot Trigado and Tamburello a little bit. So
just having a quick look at the chat.
It's going to be down to who. Yeah, strategy is going to be who's going to conserve the fuel. With everybody else having to do another stop, that could actually give Coxon a bit of a get out of jail free card from that really, really early stop he had to do.
Yeah.
Because he's no longer going to be in a position where he'll have to do one more stop than everybody else.
Black Panther, if you are still in the lobby, I didn't catch the chat earlier on, but apologies for that. So yes, you can leave the lobby if you are still in there. You are free to leave. Feel free. Chris saying that the KARS works on the front wheels. It does. It does all 4 wheels. Essentially, so it's rear-wheel drive without the KARS, and then KARS essentially applies to front and rear. So, yeah, it's essentially making it 4-wheel drive at that point, which is why it helps to kind of pull the car around. That it's not just it's then putting traction on the front to help push it in the right direction, as opposed to just pushing all the power to the back end and making that spin round.
So again, apologies to cut you off there, Andrex, as Dakuza was trying to move on Marley Basho, just couldn't slow it down getting into Bravazza, and he's going to have to do that all over again. Oh, and he is doing it all over again. Yeah,
he's got the drive out and the draft, and I think the Corvette's got the legs of the Ferrari as well in a straight line like that, so relatively easy one there. I didn't catch the earlier move, but yeah. As long as he got it slowed down enough in the corner, which he did.
That reminded me very much of first Project Cars 2 season GT3 Mercedes disappearing down the road. And the first GT3
yes, at Imola as well.
Yes.
Yeah. 11 or 12.
Something.
It might even have been 9 or 10 actually for the first season of Cars 2. Yeah.
Because we're on 13 now. And the Merc just went. Absolutely went. I think that was the.
And the old Merc is the XLS as well. It wasn't the AMG one, and it just had phenomenal straight line.
You were with me in that one, I believe. You were with me in the box on that race, were you not?
I
think you were.
Was.
Or were you in the race?
No, I think I was driving.
Ah, okay. Because I remember. I'm pretty sure it was Yorkie slowed down too early. He actually lost positions because he slowed down. Yes, he did.
On the start-finish straight at the end.
Yeah, right at the end of the race.
Yeah,
he slowed down too early. I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but I can remember something for 4 seasons ago. Yeah. That's what old age and children does to you, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed. I second that, I'm afraid. Don't do it. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding.
Inky Chris getting back on the pace of 26.8 in the Porsche.
Yeah, the other guy's not too far off when they've got clear there. 27s and 28s.
31, but he's worked his way through traffic. And
back out in the pits.
Yeah, 1.8 litres in the Ferrari. So the GTEs, unsurprisingly, making it to the halfway stage. Corvette, 3 litres for Dalkey, 7.6 for M-Power. Van Orman, 4.2. Chloe, 6.3. Brezanchik, 9. Atlas Guerin, 13.4. And Dakuza.
So is Dalking coming in? Yes, he is. Dalking is coming into the pits. He will hand over the lead because M-Power has an extra lap's worth of fuel.
He's got an extra couple of laps worth of fuel. And again,
he does.
I wonder whether M-Power was going to come in and play for a shorter stop then. But again, he probably doesn't need to because of the penalty count between the penalty difference between them.
Well, I think he's obviously aware of his pace is not that different to Dalking's. So yeah, if you can keep within 12 seconds at the moment, assuming that doesn't change anymore, then yeah, you should still take the win. Probably not the way you would like to take the win, but a win is a win.
Very, very true. We'll take it. You'll take it however you choose to. As Bacho comes back out with the full fuel tank. And where's he gone?
Certainly taking the win like that, even if it is through penalties, it's certainly no fault of his own that he's inheriting the win. So
that was a long stop from Dalking there. I wonder if he had damage on the car as well. I mean, my God, if his car was wounded and he was still pulling away like that, that's incredible pace from Dalking. Now leaving the pits down there in fourth.
Full tank.
And Dakuza's in again. He's not long been in. Right, let's get
he's got 65 litres in the tank, so it's not for fuel at this stage.
Unless he's had another. Well, we haven't seen him go off the road and hit something. Tyres, perhaps? They don't tend to take tyres, the GTEs.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if he's had a little bit of damage, the GTE cars will last an hour on a full tank. So if you're carrying any kind of damage, you wanted to try and get to this kind of mark so you could fuel and repair and not have to stop a second time again. So he might have been.
He's doing his splash and dash now, so he's just topped the tank up again.
Yeah, you'll need a full tank right now, I'd imagine. And that is M-Power in as well.
So all eyes really on Dalking, who is, oh my God, he is on it. He is wrestling his car through Acro Minerale. What's his penalty count?
Bowman coming into pits with 0.7 of a litre left of fuel.
Ooh, found that rather close. And that is Atlas Guerin coming out. Oh no, that's Atlas Guerin going out. That's Brezanchik, the other Ford, coming in. A little bit more fuel to spare. There is Dalking. There he is. I'm assuming Chloe's coming in. Yep.
Chloe's coming in as well.
Van Orman coming to a stop, or will be in a minute. There's Dalking. Where's M-Power?
Dalking coming round the last couple of corners there.
M-Power's on the way. He's still got to get to the end of the pit lane.
90 litres on board M-Power.
Pretty close, riding on board with Dalking. There's the yellow Corvette.
He's not going to get it. He's been jumped.
Even if he dived into the first chicane, he'd just take both of them off.
He must have had some damage, or unless he's not had time to change tyres. Even 2 tyres would be about 8 seconds, so he only had a lead of about 4 seconds, 5 seconds, so must have been a little bit of damage, I'm guessing, but didn't see anything.
No, I didn't either, but he was in there quite a bit longer than I was expecting, even with the amount of fuel he took on.
Yeah, and with more penalties, he certainly can't afford to be behind mPower. It gives him no chance of taking a win, so...
Well, unless Down King has unless mPower has a problem.
Indeed, of course, yes. Still an hour to go, anything can happen.
Absolutely. Still plenty of cars to lose. I mean, to
Chloe
deal with.
coming out.
Chloe, indeed, in the M6.
100 litres on that. It is a bigger tank, but it burns more fuel.
Now, you were a big advocate of the M6.
Yes, M6 and Aston, they're my weapons of choice. Partially because I wasn't that fast, and therefore if I took what I consider to be the slower cars, I had that pre-made excuse of being slow, saying, oh no, it's not me, I am absolutely amazing, it's just I am in a really rubbish car.
Yeah, but you won
when in reality
Aston.
the car... once, twice?
So,
yeah, maybe.
I think one of them was Indianapolis or Texas, or one of the speedways, I'm pretty sure.
One was at Fuji in the rain.
Oh, that was
I can't figure that out. I don't understand how I got that one. That baffles me to this day.
That was when we had one lone LMP2, I remember.
Something like that, yeah.
Very lonely race out of, well, necessity, really.
But the M6 is a good car. It's actually nice to drive. It's stable. It's easy to drive. You don't really need to do too much with the setup to make it a decent track car. So I think it's probably a tier 2 GTE car in my opinion. I think the Corvette's is an easy tier 1, probably the best all-round car for the class. But the Porsche is probably up there along with the Ford as well. Those 3 are probably quite close to one another. I think the Ferrari and the BMW are probably not too far away from each other. And as much as I have a strong fondness of the Aston, I still do rate it as probably the slowest. Certainly overall, out of all the GTE cars. On some tracks it does very well. Power tracks, Le Mans, Monza. But I think you're essentially giving yourself a little bit of a handicap by driving one of those. But it's so lovely to look at and sounds lovely as well.
No argument.
I know you like the sound of the Corvette. I know you've got a soft spot for that, but I've got a hard spot for the Aston sound.
Oh, I have full appreciation of the V8 roar of the Aston. Absolutely, I do. As I was saying earlier, the only one I don't like is the Ford.
Yeah, it does sound like a bit of an over-revving lawnmower.
I've described it.
And to be fair, driving that for 2 hours is not my idea of fun. It is a nice car to drive, and it is a fast car to drive, but that sound just goes through you like, no, I couldn't cope with that. I don't.
The description you had is not stream friendly, I suspect.
No.
I mean, I've described the Ford before as an asthmatic horse, as far as its sound is concerned. The pace is certainly there, but I'm not a fan of that. Now, you're also, whilst we're looking at mPower and Dalking crossing swords again, I'm curious. I'm curious as to if mPower is going to defend too hard against the penalty-ridden Dalking. Again, mPower will be fully aware of what penalties mPower has.
I don't think he'd make it easy for him, because if he can keep ahead, and obviously he would much rather win on track, but obviously he doesn't need to, so that pressure's off. He can let Dalking go.
Dalking's up to 34 seconds of penalties now.
Yeah, so he doesn't need to hold him back, but the longer you keep him behind him, the more of a buffer you have in terms of if you do have an issue of some sort later on. Then obviously if he releases him now, then he might catch up accounting for penalties. He might win by 15-20 seconds, but you could have an issue and lose 20 seconds very easily.
Very true. At this rate, Dalkey will need to lap Empower. He's collecting them, as you said earlier, like candy. Now, my dogs are having a play as well. Now,
his commentary booth's quite cozy to have a dog in here as well, you know. It's,
my Staffy and my Jack Russell Cross are joining in the fun. Whilst we kind of keep the cameras on our GT as our remaining LMPs are quite a long way apart. Talk to us about the Assetto Corsa leagues you're involved with.
Yes, so it's obviously a new title. It's fairly recently kind of came into being released. Oh, which way are they going to go? As the Audi threads his way past, the GTE's kind of not moving back onto the racing line, but I think it was fairly clear their intentions of what they were planning to do. So Audi was quite fine to go through there, no problems. They're catching up on the Ford at the moment. You can hear that horrible rasp of a trapped wasp. So Assetto, it's got some teething issues. It is outside of beta now. It's certainly got some rather fundamental issues, but not game breaking, as the Ford gets out of the way and lets them both through just enough room, and Dalking is right on the back of Emperor right now, and there's another GTE in front. He's having a look up the inside, but he's not going to get the move done there. I think he might be looking at trying to do what he did earlier and line up a pass later on. Empower's learnt from the last time and defended, but he's gone wide on the exit, and I think that will be Dalking on the inside for this next one, letting the LMP through, and he's going to have the inside for the double left-hand corner, but he does kind of squeeze Empower, and he does very well to hold on to that as he touches the grass on the outside, loses traction, back end steps out, he's through. It was a bit of a squeeze, that one, to be fair.
That was a bit of a clinching moment for Empower.
As much as he's got this speculative 20 second or so penalty lead, he doesn't want to be. Oh
no! Oh, Butcher,
well, that's reactions. Well played, Mr. Dalking, sir. Yes, a wild Ferrari appears sideways in front of you, moving slowly, and you don't know whether he's going to stop or not. And it's that scary moment of you've got to almost just commit and just go one side and hope that the Ferrari doesn't decide to go that way as well. But they got away without incident, and that is Coxon in the pits now.
He'll be alright.
With 48 minutes to go.
And he'll take on 49
the full tank, 50 litres, 49 litres or so, I think it is.
That could be a little bit
I think it'll be tight.
We'll keep an eye on that one.
Indeed. Feed the dog. He's chewing on my leg here.
Now they're chewing on each other. No force on earth is going to. They're as difficult to control as children. So no force on earth is actually going to get them to stop.
We will get back to Assetto, of course. That's all the excitement. But the 120mm pack cannon is asking why Dalton got no drive-through after the penalties. The option for a drive-through penalty is disabled. Partly for other reasons, due to things like jumping the start would cause a drive-through and then just mess things up if you decided to accidentally start early, jump the start and that type of thing. So yes, that option is disabled, but to be fair, if he's got a 30-second penalty or so, then I think that's pretty much the same as a drive-through as well anyway, so yeah, I think he's kind of knocking himself out of contention, sorry. So yes, whilst King gets mauled by a pack of wild dogs, indeed.
I've had stranger things
back to
happen.
Assetto. So yes, that's something that we are developing the league at the moment. I was actually hoping to kind of release something about it this week, but we're just waiting on some pretty pictures and nice graphics and stuff to make the forum threads a little bit nicer and more appealing. But hopefully this week, if not next week, then we will be opening up sign-ups to the first season on Assetto Corsa Competizione. We have a lot of people interested in that, so hopefully sign-ups to that's going to be really strong. Probably race 1's going to be at the end of next month sort of time, roughly, give or take. Maybe the middle of the following month, we'll maybe have to delay it another week perhaps. But yes, it's a little bit different to your Project Cars. The driving is certainly different. I would say it certainly rewards smoother driving than compared to how aggressive you can kind of get away with in Project Cars. But I think it's just a bit different. It's obviously limited in terms of content. I guess a lot of people would be seeing it as the downside of that it is just GT3 only, and there's about 12 tracks I think it is there. So it is a little bit limited, but there will be more content coming out. Certainly there's some free DLC coming out. Well, I don't know about timeframes or roadmap, but the 2019 cars will be coming out as free DLC. So there's quite a few new cars or newer versions of that. But it's focused, obviously, so less content. But on the flip side of that, and the positive side, is that they don't have to spread the resources so wide. So obviously at Project Cars you've got a lot of a lot of road cars, a lot of race cars, and to get all that data, to build all those cars, it takes a lot of resources and time, and unfortunately some things suffer for that, like the class balancing in Project Cars 2. Unfortunately, as much as I still love Project Cars 2, it's very limiting in what cars you can actually make a league viable from, in terms of how unbalanced a lot of the cars are. I was hoping to make this league bring in some of the older cars, like the GT1s, the GTOs for multi-class of yesteryear, and it would be doable, but you have to limit a lot of the cars in terms of exclude several cars, and it's pretty much decimates the rest of that class. So you've got to take about 3 cars out of a 7 class car class, and then there's other issues with that in terms of the liveries, that there's one car that only has one livery. So similar to Project Cars 2 in the LMP class, unfortunately, is each car only has one livery to it, really. But no, there's a parked LMP car at Kleinstein.
Kleinstein had a problem
bringing his bucket and sand, bucket and spade out.
There's plenty of sand already out there. Yeah, bucket and spade.
Yeah.
He was doing the sandcastle trick.
Moving someone on the track. So it is focused, but certainly in my opinion they have done a very good job with those classes, with the class that he has brought in. And I have a sneaky suspicion that down the line they will bring more classes into the title, because they have the blank paint license, which does hold a lot of the older and different car classes. I think GT4 is also owned by Blank Pan. Like the GT1 cars of yesteryear, of the 90s, late 90s, they're also of the same license. So there's certainly nothing confirmed or anything really talked about, but I think reading between the lines, I think there was a good chance that there's going to be other things brought in, which I think would be absolutely amazing, because if we were to have multi-class in there, then I think it would be a super strong racing sim. We had a race on Tuesday night at Silverstone for a 2-hour, well, actually we reduced it down to 1 hour because there were server issues, but it does have driver swaps, so similar to iRacing. Obviously what Project Cars is missing, although they said it was going to be there since Project Cars 1, but I guess we'll skip over that. So yes, we got a working driver swap race happening on Tuesday there. There was, again, slight technical issues with that. Some people crashed when they swapped over, in terms of game crash.
I was going to say.
Not a physical crash in the pits run, but so it wasn't flawless, but I think 90% of us swapped without issue.
Nice.
And again, it's been out for about a month or so there now, out of beta. So it's still new, and yes, it's got their teething issues, as every game does. But you just need to look at how Assetto Corsa, the original one, was released and supported. And I am fully confident that they've already brought out 5 patches, updates to the game within that month. So that's more than one a week. So yeah, it's being very well supported. Issues are being picked up and addressed. Some of them are still lurking around. That because they're not really game-breaking issues, they're concentrating on the bigger issues first, which is 100% logical. But I think in a relatively short period of time, it's going to be very viable. So we'll see what happens with Season 1 in AOR when that kicks off. As I say, hopefully get some sign-ups open for that next week. It'll be a slightly shorter season, but I think it's 5 or 6 races in the season, to kind of match up with the real life racing. And then
Tuesday nights for that one.
Tuesday nights, that's right. Yep. Similar sort of 8 o'clock spot. But looking at the number of people that have been putting themselves into the driver tag list for ACC events and so on, I think there's about 4 or 5 pages worth of sign-ups on there. So I think it could be pretty massive. Thankfully, we've got access to about 4 or 5 servers if it does go absolutely mental crazy. But yes, that is certainly coming out soon, and get that underway. So if you're interested in any of that, then get yourself up, sign up on the AOR forums, put your post on that ACC driver tag list so that we know you're interested, and then when it does get published, we'll be able to tag you and make sure you get a notification to let you know what's happening.
Indeed. And a certain Scotsman has been quite determined to get me in the commentary box for that one.
Yes, do it. You know you want to. You know you want to. I know you want to, to be fair.
You're right, I do, but time constraints is something I have to be very wary of. So
you're so good, King, that you're in so much demand, and you're spreading yourself so wide across this wonderful spectrum of racing.
There's a lot of me to spread.
Well, it spreads very well, I have to say. So if I can steal a slice.
I have been told
if I can steal a slice of you, I would love that most dearly.
Oh dear, someone else said that. I can't remember what the race was. I was it wasn't the GT3 race. It might have actually been last week's GT3 race I stood in for Yorkie for, but someone else said that they would like me on board for the ACC. And truth be told, I would certainly relish the opportunity to. I think Assetto Corsa is the one thing I haven't commentated for AOR. I've done pretty much everything else. that has had a commentary of some description. So of course is the
well, it'd be just rude not to do right now, wouldn't it? That seems almost favouritism, as Inky Chris just threads past a back marker in the LMP class there.
Yeah, that was.
Yes, but Jordan was asking if there's a potential for a league with driver swaps. To start with, obviously they haven't put too much time. There's issues with the driver swaps at the moment. It's not flawless. The actual process of swapping can lead to crashes here and there. At the moment, there's a slightly bigger issue in that when you swap to the last driver of your team, that person is then unable to pit again, not just to swap the driver back onto somebody else, but can't pit for fuel or repairs or tyres or anything at the moment. So they're aware of it. It has been flagged up on the QNOS threads, and Minolan, one of the head guys there, has commented that he's aware of it, but he's just concentrating on other things. I didn't notice that Dalking had got past Emperor. Too busy talking about other things. I apologise for that. So yes, hopefully once it is all fixed, we'll see how successful the Season 1 is of the GT3 League style season. But yeah, people are probably aware of where my passion is, and that's this type of racing, the endurance racing, the longer racing, and if we can do that with driver swaps and so on, that adds that little bit extra excitement onto it. It would be lovely to have multi-class as well, but obviously that's not a thing in the ACC yet, perhaps in the future, but it would probably be a separate thing, a separate league to be similar to this, an endurance league, but there's obviously also scope for, even in the one standard league, that we could have a slightly longer race as a feature race, and instead of having your two drivers having separate cars, they share one for one race in the season, or two, or something like that. It's something that we'd have to discuss and look into after we've completed this first set of trial tester season first. So, but yes, it's definitely something that I'm passionate about. So I would definitely say there will be events with a scope to. Oh, Dalking's letting it Emperor past.
He did indeed.
Okay. Sorry, I'm watching a stream so I can get the chat here.
I realised that by how far behind
obviously,
you were.
yes, I apologise. I'll start watching. Yes. But yes, that's certainly something that I suspect will be a thing, whether it's a full-blown league or a kind of mini league, kind of a monthly race or something. Yeah, we'll all kind of put our heads together, see what the community wants. Really, at the end of the day, there's no point making a league that the community doesn't want, otherwise nobody joins up and nobody races. So we'll kind of open it up and see what people want to do. But yeah, it's definitely potential for something like that.
Awesome stuff.
Right, that's my ACC promotion done. I think we'll go back to where we're at now.
Well, I mean, with the exception of Empire and Darkling, there's not a lot going on in this particular race.
No, they're kind of static. And the lap times seem to be quite static as well, just nothing jumping out at me as being too wild. So yeah, Takuza with a 147, which seems to be a bit slower, but could have been traffic or anything, so
maybe the gap
rather second hand in that Corvette, but again, as I said before, I think that's just a visual bug on our side. I'm sure he is rocking a perfectly straight Corvette.
We haven't lost any more cars for a while. Now I've
no,
said it,
still
we're
13. Well, that's it, you've just cursed that one, haven't you?
Yep.
I know what you're like.
How could you, sir?
You've done it to me several times.
I have. Oh, and Andrex has suffered me in so many different ways. Both in
I banned you from watching me on one of the seasons. I think I said, don't follow me. Don't look at other people.
Because as soon as I would cut to you, something
keep
would
on killing me.
And you also went through a phase when you would join me for some of my more bizarre videos on my channel, you ended up with rolling snow.
Constant snow.
You did,
I don't know what voodoo you're running, but I thought you liked me.
I do, sir. Not that you believe
You like,
me, but
you like causing me pain and misery.
I shared the pain with you. Although the last episode we had in snow with you and the Porsche, I was just like, it was hilarious.
Glorious. Glorious.
That was fun. That's a horrendous plug for my own channel. This wasn't what I was intending to do, but as we were there, I thought I'd finish that one through. Right, something I've just remembered I was going to check up on was Coxon's fuel.
Yeah, so it was 48 minutes left to go, and that was 49 litres.
He's opened that up.
So it's about a litre a minute. So he looks as if he's on track, but I think it could be a bit bum-clenching tight.
Well, he's over a minute ahead of Logan, so Logan there should technically be the car further down the road from him. Well, there is Logan going through the first chicane. Yeah, he is. So Coxon basically just needs to stay with him. He doesn't need to push the latter, although 29.4 is not bad at all.
Kleinstein in the bits.
Oh, empty fuel tank. So, or nearly empty one. So therefore, well, Berserker's nearly empty. So that's about right, it would seem, with the Audis.
I think he's still rocking 15.
Yeah, but Inky's in the Porsche, isn't he?
Yeah, but they should kind of even itself out to be running out at around about the same time. It carries more, but it burns more. But
true, I guess. The Toyota's got 24 in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say Inky's got 15. Well, interesting. But he's gone full tank. That's
He has. He's filled her up.
he doesn't want to be pushing that one along the road.
Well, it does do more. So I'm guessing. Oh no, it doesn't. It does less. So that's probably overfueled by a quite fair margin, to be fair. Dalking still harassing the backup M-Power right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got fuel to spare. There's what's Logan. 23s, and he'll have to come in again. He's had a problem. Oh, no, he had a slowdown, never mind. He was just holding at like 20-30% throttle there. But no, he's back underway again. So,
Van Oldman, having done a 45, he's just coming across the line very shortly to see what lap time this has done. I'm expecting a 41 or thereabouts.
oh, well
It
called.
is a 41.
Well called, sir. Yeah, Van Orman's put in some pretty good lap times.
Yeah, he's kind of pretty much matching the leaders, more or less, give or take, but he's just got that unhealthy gap to match. What's his penalty status like?
Let's have a look.
Speedo in the way.
36 seconds.
36, okay. Chloe with 4 seconds. How far away is Chloe from Van Owen?
33 seconds down the road, so that is actually close.
That is rather close. And lap time wise is also not a million miles away. Half a second the last lap.
Berserker's in.
Berserker's in pit.
Last fuel stop for you.
Topping up the Toyota.
Oh, Coxon, he's
Oh no,
got
that's an Audi, sorry.
Coxon's going to have to back that off. He's so close. He's got to fuel save at some point.
29 with 28 to go. Yeah, and it could go either way. He could be lucky with when he crosses the line after Inky Chris if he has to do an extra lap, or if that'll not save fuel if you have to accelerate more.
Yeah, very true. He's not slow. It's not showing any signs of slowing down at all. He's still nailing the throttle through the floor.
And what penalties have we got between Coxon and Logan?
Coxon is on 4, Logan 15.
Yeah.
Logan's a lap behind, so nothing to worry about there. Nothing to worry about yet.
Indeed.
Still the Corvettes are fighting. There's Atlas Karen, I think it is. Nope, wrong Ford.
It's 34-second penalties for Dalking, 36 for Van Omen. Yeah.
Sanchik staying out of the way. Brzezinski was LMP last season, was he not?
Yes, he was.
See, remembered that. Still, can't remember this one.
Yeah. So Inky, Chris, and Kleinstein are the only good boys in the server tonight.
Yeah.
No penalties. Coxon only has 4 seconds, to be fair, and Resnick only has 2, and Atlas only has 4.
Which is pretty good after, an hour and a half of racing.
That's true, it's true.
Still 26 minutes to do. So still some racing to resolve, primarily between Dalking and Empower. They on track,
It's
sure.
a false race, yeah. Just for honour more than anything else, I think. But I think we've pretty much seen that Dalking has the pace over Empower, but again, it's still, he's been trapped behind him for quite some time now. It's not easy to get past, as we see an Audi steaming past, followed by another one, but he's not going to get him there before that corner, so he's going to catch him in a rather awkward place, actually.
And of course, Dalking is perfectly entitled to concentrate on the battle he's got within power. He does not have to let the quicker class go. So
no, he should be more or less trying to ignore the LEP class to an extent. Obviously, when it's starting, if you're making a move, then you want to take it into consideration. But the LMP guys, as we were saying before, if GTEs are predictable and stick to racing line, then the LMP guys know where they're going to be. So as we get somebody in between them, I'm not sure which one that is. Who's in between them? It is Coxon.
No, it's Berserker.
No, it's not. It's Berserker. Who is not far behind Logan. About to put a lap on him if he keeps that pace up.
Indeed. So Coxon's got gap 4 and aft. I think Coxon's actually the only one on his lap, ironically. He's got to. So that actually gives him the scope to be able to fuel save. He's not going to close in that minute and a bit to Berserker, who's the car behind him on the road. Well, unless Berserker falls off the road. Oh, well, Coxon fell off the road himself, so that's certainly not going to help his charge towards the next step of the podium. But, a full lap and a bit ahead of Logan, he's got the opportunity to slow that down. Still, our Corvettes fight on. They're not going to use too much extra fuel with their fighting, are they? Mr. Andrax?
Sorry, I was reading chat, trying to catch up a bit there, sorry. But between things. Sorry, what was the question? Sorry.
The Corvettes aren't going to use any extra fuel with their fighting, are they? They're not going to have to look at their fuel gauge before the end of the race.
I think, again, in terms of an hour, each of the GTE cars will safely reach an hour on a full tank, maybe a little bit more thereabouts, but they're all pretty much matching each other. Again, things like the BMW have a 100-litre tank as opposed to like an 80-litre tank of the Corvettes, but it burns off an awful lot more fuel, so on some tracks it'll burn even more, but on some it might be a little bit less comparatively, so this should be more or less even. So for the 2-hour races, it's generally a straightforward pit at the halfway hour mark and full up, let's go. But obviously the 2.4-hour races, like the next race at Lamont, then yeah,
they will need the pit lane again,
depending on potential weather as well. Then that is Dalking having a look like he did before, but wasn't quite close enough. Power just kept to his line and closed that door.
Well, I mean, at least the two Corvettes are giving us something to look at.
Indeed, yes.
So we have them very much to thank for that. Yeah, well, they've had pretty much all of it for a good hour now.
The best part of an hour, at least, yeah.
But I mean, if there weren't penalties to play, then their hearts would be up in their throats for fighting for so long, lap on lap on lap on lap on lap. And they haven't clouted one another, in fairness.
No, they had a bit of a scrape earlier on when Dalking did get passed on the. Well, it was actually the second occasion. The first one he ran wide and had to give the position back. But, yeah, they kind of got their elbows out when they did get passed for position earlier on, but and it's very hard to follow somebody when you're this close, because it restricts your view in terms of braking points. And, the likes of here, you'll be getting the draft, so you'll be carrying that little bit extra speed when it kind of comes into the braking zone for turn 1. So he's got to take that into account for the braking zone. Brake a tiny little bit earlier than it would do normally, because he's got that little bit extra speed. But it's so easy to go into the back of somebody. But these guys are so evenly matched, to be fair, that they can pretty much just drive more or less as fast as they can, and it just makes them naturally be this close without hitting people. So it's certainly a skill to be able to race this close for this length of time without having a major contact or even a half spin that will just destroy a race. Obviously the penalties are making this one a little bit more void, but yeah. Oh, Kleinstein's got a penalty.
Oh, what a shame.
And he was well off track right there as well. But, yeah. So Inky is our stalwart for track limit behaviour this tonight so far. 20 minutes to go. See if he can keep that sheet clean. He's in the pits right now.
Yeah, he's splashing.
35 litres to go.
Oh wow, Dalking, that was deep into Ravazza.
Okay, Inky's coming out of the pits. I thought, why is he coming into the pits with 35 litres? That's probably around about right. But yes, 20 minutes to go, 35 litres. Should be comfortable to the end, and he's still got a healthy 55-second lead over Berserker, who probably should be able to make that, I think.
Yeah, he ought to. Well, we're judging by Coxon, who's pretty much...
He's on 20 litres, yeah, he was doing about a litre a minute, wasn't it? And that is really very close for Coxon. It's just... He's carrying about 1 more litre than it is the minute. In fact, half a litre more, so... Yeah.
Well, he's committed to it now.
He could easily get caught out if Inky Chris does not get past him very close to the end, and therefore causes Coxon to have to do another lap. Could be interesting.
There's something else that I was going to mention about Dalking and Empower. They have crossed swords so many times, many laps in Endurance and in GT3. They know what to expect from the other.
Yeah, they trust each other. They know they've got amazing skills, that they can drive, and they're consistent, and they're somewhat predictable, and they're safe. Yeah, and it means you can push when you've got that trust of somebody that is very good beside you, or in front of you, or behind you, or in close proximity, that you're not having to second guess them and think, oh, is he going to chop me off here, or has he seen me making this move? Has he not noticed me, and then I'm going to get collected, or is he going to outbrake himself and knock into the back end and take each other out? It's easily done.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Especially, they've been going for this long, so fatigue is certainly going to be playing a part in these closing laps. So,
I can see by the lap time there that Dalking's done a 48 as opposed to a 44, so I suspect that's another 4-second penalty that he's picked up, if not more. 44
seconds. So Dalking now takes over the lead of the
Van Omen with 40 as well.
So he has, Van Omen's lost the position to Chloe then. Oh no, because Chloe's got 4 and Van Omen 40. 1 second, 1 or 2 seconds difference between the two.
Yeah, it's going to be close at the end.
Oh,
Dalking having a little look, but not quite close enough.
Oh, they
hammering
clout.
those curbs.
I was going to say, they clout that curve very, very hard.
It will take it, but it's then knocking the grip off the front end in the corner. So if your front wheels are not on the ground, you can't turn. So it's
I can attest
it won't really cause damage, but it messes up your corner. So yeah, you can't hit them too hard or jump too high off the ground with them.
No, indeed.
That looks like it must be Dakuza up ahead with his slightly second-hand Corvette.
Oh,
he's making a dive and he's made a mess of it. He's going to have to get that one back. That's going to be a...
He got caught out by M-Power there. M-Power braked, I think, earlier. Well, either got caught out by M-Power or he just missed his own braking point there. As that was a very... oh dear, I need to avoid a big impact here. Movement from...
Indeed, uncharacteristic. And again, it might have been going back to what I was talking about before, that he just got a good drive and he had that draft and he was carrying extra speed compared to the laps before. And that braking point needs to accommodate for that. He happened to brake a little bit earlier. He may have just locked up and gone a little bit wrong.
It's a curious thing for me to be able to commentate on these GTEs. One of my regular commentaries for AOR is the iRacing GTE League on a Monday. It's curious to see how the different cars in the sims behave. Although, now my dogs are joining in with somebody again, they've spotted something outside the camera. Speaking of them, my smaller dog put me off completely in the closing stages of Monday's race when I'd realised he'd gotten out of the window.
Oh.
I actually spotted him wandering around the garden.
A great escape.
Very much so, and my co-commentator basically kind of heard me stop mid-sentence and suddenly had to jump in as I saw this kind of white shape wandering around the garden, thinking, okay, I can't really do anything about it. He couldn't get out of the garden, he just completely put me off my stride. Well, at least I haven't forgotten to unmute my microphone today. That was one I did yesterday.
Okay.
Nattering away, post-grid formation, going through everybody and where everybody was, looked down on my microphone and it's muted. I was like, whoops. Just to the point, actually, you, Andrex, I saw your comment in chat. Oh, go on.
No, I was getting confused with Dakuza being behind Dalking. I saw a yellow Corvette
right.
behind him for a brief second as I switched back.
Wrong one. Now, ironically, at the point that you, Andrex, said in chat, am I still muted, was the point I'd already noticed it.
On last night's race.
Last night's GT3 race, yeah.
I was like, it's being very quiet, and I suspect he should be talking by now.
Because me and quiet are not a fairly mutually exclusive phrases. My wife can certainly testify to that. I haven't woken since I relocated my computer in my house. I haven't woken my children up. That was a common one.
That's a bonus.
Wow, that was.
Oh yeah, that's on you go, son. Yeah.
Berserker, yeah. Berserker squeezing past. There wasn't a lot of room left. Oops.
No, he did get the fastest lap of last lap around. Berserker at 26.7. Still a good, an absolute solid lap time.
Dalky staying very much in the tyre tracks of Empower again. He's going to have a crack at it.
He's going to have a look. I think Empower's defending. He's not defending. Then he is defending.
Well, he wasn't.
No, I don't think he was intentionally blocking in any way. I think it was just it moved over to almost give up the inside, and then it was literally just at the same point as Dalking decided, no, I'm not going to go to the inside. I'm going to have a look on the outside now. I think it just was unintentional.
Yeah, there's nothing untoward there. Oh, there's Chloe going through the shot. That's fourth position they're catching up to.
It's a lovely paint scheme on that M6, I have to say.
It is colourful, isn't it? Oh, Logan's in.
Oh.
4.3 litres in the tank. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Indeed.
19.
And Coxon has got 12 litres with 12 minutes to go. That is more fuel usage than per minute than there is minutes left.
That's getting a little too close for comfort there, Coxon. You're going to have to think about that very, very soon. I mean, he could probably just do a lap on the ERS energy alone and make that.
Yeah.
Well, we saw Hamish do a lap of Lamont with ERS energy alone, so it's doable.
Yeah, I didn't know that wouldn't use up fuel.
Well, I think he found that it used less, so it might not use none.
Okay.
It just used less because he just let go of the throttle entirely.
Okay. You gotta be careful leaving these pits because you'll get a warning for crossing that white line.
That's true.
And whereas the GTEs are not going to be a major problem because they only do it once and you can get one warning without any repercussions. As Logan's lag is a bit scary. But these LMPs are doing multiple pit stops, so that could land them with a bit of a penalty.
Let's just have a quick recap of the penalty count as we are approaching the final 10 minutes of this race. Geeky Chris still with a clean slate. Berserker with 9, Coxon with 4, Logan with 26, Kleinstein with only 2, Empower 19, Dalking 44, Van Orman 40, Chloe 4, Dakusa 17, Brazanchik 2, Atlas Garrett 4, and Marty Bato with 18. What's the gap with Chloe to Ormond? He has to be. He's opened up that gap a bit, so he has to be 36 seconds ahead of Chloe going 41. So he has opened up that gap a bit. Oh, Dalking, good grief. That could have been impact there between the two. If it was, Empire held it brilliantly well.
Just maybe Dalking just telling Empower that he's there, just in case he hadn't noticed. For the best part of an hour and a half, at least.
Goodness me. I mean, at one point it looked like the Empower was, the Dalking was just going to run off.
Yeah, and then he got jumped in the pit stops. So, and then he's just not been able to find that same pace again to get away or catch or get past and go away. He's matching Empower's lap times, and I suspect he does have a little bit extra pace over Empower, but with this amount of time left in the race, it might very much be a case of, well, even if I get past him, I can't win, so let's not risk being that guy and knocking him off the track. But
oh no! Wow, that could have gone wrong.
He's not scared to have a look if it presents itself, that's for sure.
Well, I'm not sure that one really did present itself. He went inside of the inside there. He was on the grass. So,
indeed.
Well, there's making an opportunity here, and there's that. There's that atmosphere in there.
Maybe he felt that he hadn't picked up a time penalty for a whole lap, and that he needed to cut the track corner a little bit.
I think it had been a while, actually. Oh no, there's another one. There's 45 on the board now.
Yeah, that'll be the one now then.
Yeah, that'll be it. Oh, it looks really severe from the outside when they hit that, and that is a really steep apex curb there.
It's a massive sausage curb. It's
There's a cap halfway up.
Obviously introduced to stop people from cutting and not straight lining it, but taking a massive amount out of that set of corners, which he can do until they introduce that. So is he going to have a look this time? He's very close. I think he's probably close enough to have a look. He's having a look up the inside. He has got his front wheels beside, they're side by side, he's through even before the corner.
Empower was
and he
not
gets the
interested
job
in defending
done.
That one.
And again, he doesn't even need to, it's just a case of, okay, finishing in front of him would be nice. There's an M6 facing
just spun
backwards.
Yep, that's Chloe that's got the exit of Tamburello a bit wrong.
Doing a fantastic job of a lighthouse.
Much more effective
Not going
in the dark.
again.
I forgot that analogy of yours. Oh dear,
Emperor going to have another strike back. I think he's going to be comfortable just to sit behind and just say, well, I'll have that 30 seconds worth of penalty advantage over you anyway.
Imola
I'll just keep my car clean and finish it.
Imola will always be a sort of soft spot track for me. It was my, I think it was my first GT3 commentary I did in Project Cars 2. it wasn't my first ever commentary. That was Indy Road Course endurance race, which had Fizzy doing a vanishing trick in it, an involuntary vanishing trick as well, which you were the unfortunate victim.
Yes, I got collected by that, and
that's
on you go, son. Well, that's opportunistic, but there you go. You're a bit too deep in that corner, and that's all it takes to lose a position. Okay, it's already lost it, and technically, but that coming across the line first is still got that bit of glory attached to it. So,
absolutely.
Is he going to have another go? No, not this time around. 6 minutes left to go. He's got a couple of laps to have another try, but yeah.
It was also the place where I finished one of my video series, and where I uttered the words, "I'm trying not to hit you, Andrex," and what followed it? Bang!
Well, yes.
This is what followed it. And I believe that happened twice in that particular episode as well.
That's quite possible.
Yeah,
I remember that race with Fissy killing me, and then it not actually happened on his screen, and he was like, "Sorry, what happened?" Like, "You just killed me." I was like, "No, didn't touch you. I can't see you. Where are you?"
Yeah.
And he wasn't on my screen, I wasn't on his.
Because I think I was looking away at something else at that point.
Coxon is certainly going conservative. He's got back to 5 litres with 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think he's the wrong side
kind
of it,
on
though.
schedule.
I think he's the wrong side of it, because it's 5 minutes now and he's under 5 litres.
And it's potentially got that extra lap, because that's just when the clock finishes, not when the race finishes. So depending on when Inky, if Inky crosses a line just after it hits 0, then okay. But if Inky starts another lap just at that time we're dropping, then that's another 1.5 litres that Coxon needs to suddenly magically
Does he have a jerry can in the car somewhere?
Yeah, no, there's energy recovery, but not fuel, not diesel recovery.
No, that's a whole new thing. He hasn't got a mobile filling station with him.
Bowser, he's not carrying a trailer with diesel in it.
Yeah, there's no fuel truck nearby. He's not showing any signs of much lifting and coasting going on.
Well, I saw it a little bit earlier on as he was coming into the final sector in the downhill and so on. He was lifting on the downhill section there, I think. So I don't know if that's really enough though, or he'd have had to have been doing it earlier than he was now.
He's certainly still very keen on the loud pedal at the moment.
Dalking with a 1:44, so I suspect that penalty system's gone back up again.
47,
and
yes.
He's on 47. Dalking. What are you doing to me?
Whole collection. The gap between Van Ommen and Chloe, with Chloe's spin, is now 53, so Van Ommen fairly secure in that podium spot now. 3 minutes to go. Where is Inky Chris? I thought it was raining for a brief second then. I was like, ready? that'll be a new one.
He's recently started a lap, so yeah. All I can say is I'm glad from a steward's perspective that we are allowing the game to deal with the cutting.
Yes, that would lead...
Because no thank you.
yeah, that would be a whole...
That would be a night's worth of work purely for Dalking alone.
yeah, that's very true. You were always an
I love the guy, don't get me wrong. I love him to bits. But what are you doing to me, man? Post-traumatic stress disorder for you.
He's only got 6 litres left in the car, though.
I think it's about 3 litres a lap, so again, it could depend on when Inky crosses a line.
That could be troublesome.
Empower again has saved considerably more than Dalking. Dalking did pit 1 lap earlier, or 2 laps?
No, it was 1 lap earlier.
1 lap earlier, yeah.
2 laps to go. Inky Chris has just started a lap, and there's 2 minutes to go. That's going to give Coxon, you have got to come into the pits. Oh, he's off the throttle way early for the first chicane.
Yeah. You can only do this lap there out of that, my friend.
Yeah.
You have to come in and get a little bit more taking on.
But he's got 2 minutes back to Logan.
Where is Inky in regards to Coxon?
Well, they're not.
No, they're miles apart.
3 minutes apart. So
no, it's just in terms of when he finishes his lap, whether he's anywhere near that he can just really slow down and just sit on the track for 10 seconds as opposed to come in for a pit stop for 30 seconds.
Well,
yeah,
he could. I don't think he will. He's got.
I don't know how far is Logan behind, or are they on different laps?
Oh, Logan, yeah, he's 2 laps down.
Oh, yeah, okay, so technically Coxon could just sit and park it on the grid and wait for Inky Chris to go past. But we'll see what he decides to do.
Well, here comes Inky Chris in the Porsche, unless he sits still for 50 seconds, which he could
he
just
can't afford to do. He's like 2 laps ahead of Logan behind him.
No, as in Inky Chris could sit still for 50 seconds, like he could just do, but he's not doing.
Oh, right, okay.
So yeah, that's not gone quite Coxon's way.
Oh, who's that playing in the sandpit again?
And Coxon's in. No, he's
Logan.
parking it! He's doing exactly what you said he'd do. He's parked it, he's going to sit there and wait, which he's got the time to do. He's going to wait for Inky Chris to come round again.
It would have been, I think it'd be quicker to not, to be honest, but...
He doesn't want to do the other lap.
Yeah, but you could go in and fuel up for a lap and carry on and finish, but
yeah, but
technically it's quicker to not do it and then just follow Inky across the line, but yeah, fair play. That's tactics. All
I'm not sure you'll see that in the WEC somehow, but
probably not. Dalking is also slowing right down and
he's parking it
off throttle, and he's doing the same.
Yeah. Well, there is Inky Chris coming down to Ravazza. Chloe could do the same thing.
Where's Van Omen compared to Dalking? Oh, the penalties are pretty similar, although Dalking's up to 50 seconds now.
Oh, Dalking didn't want to be outdone on the penalty score. And I would imagine Coxon's going to get out of the way, but... Oh, there is... there we just saw
That's
Dalking.
Inky going past now,
Yeah.
And Inky takes the win again at Imola.
Berserker
Outstanding drive, class of his own really, with no real competition after we lost.
Well, there's Coxon.
It was...
Coxon crossed the line.
Oh, indeed, yeah, Coxon goes away.
0.3 litres, having parked and had a coffee in the pit lane entrance.
Had this been very early on in Project Cars 2, if you ran out of fuel during the cooldown lap, you would get disqualified.
Really?
Yes. But that got fixed, so fair play.
Here goes Berserker to finish second, quite some time down the road. Who's still running? Empower's still going. Zanchik, he's done. Well, that's an LMP killing itself into the dust.
Kleinstein is still to finish, going round on to finish straight now to take a solid P5. Good points on the board for that one.
Indeed.
Well played, sir. And the Corvette in front of him as well.
Yeah, that's the GTE leader. And wow, that's a dramatic way for Kleinstein to finish. Who's still running?
Guess you might need to. Well, he won't be running that aero package on the Audi for Le Mans anyway, so
that needs
he's
more
alright.
than a buff.
Well, it's a different car. It's the Le Mans version with the low downforce he'll be running. So,
and there it
we're
is.
done. Look at that. Well,
so your 5 LMPs made it to the flag. So Inky Chris winning by a minute over Berserker, then Coxon, Logan, and Kleinstein. Empower taking the win in the GTEs. Dalking 2, Van Orman 3, Chloe 4, Dakuta 5, Brezantic 6, Atlas Guerin 7, and Marley Bacho seeing out 8, and Andrex winning the Road D category.
Points.
Boy, yep.
I don't know that I covered 75% of the race distance on that.
You were in server. Good enough.
Well, I make the rules up, so yeah. Okay.
That's very true. We'll give the drivers a minute. If they want to come and have a chat to us, they certainly can. It's not obligatory. I'd imagine they're pretty knackered by now, so I wouldn't blame them at all for not doing so. But in the absence of any of the drivers to have a chat to, thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. A great pleasure to have you with us. Thank you, Andrex, for joining me in the comedy wars. It's been a great pleasure, sir.
Thank you for stepping up and joining me in here. It's
my pleasure.
Very pleasurable experience.
My pleasure.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
It's been my pleasure entirely. It doesn't look like anybody wants to come and have a chat, which is absolutely fine. Thank you very much to our sponsors. Without you guys, AOR would not continue to grow, and we will be back for the next race of this season in 2 weeks' time. There's plenty of other racing going on in between then and now, so do check back with us then. Thank you very much, and good night.
Good night.